Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Here's my lovely co-host over there. We have...
You're sweet. It's Jojo.
Woo! So if this is your first time on Reality Realness, well then welcome. We are very happy to have you. I know, and I'm also very sorry that we had to go later than we anticipated. We're like 100%, 2 p.m. Eastern time, and it's 5 p.m. Eastern time. Things happen in the world of an artist, so I'm sorry that we're late, but we are here live for you. Join us in the comments, and we want to talk about Sequester, Season 4, Episode 3, Huff and Puff. So where did they get that tagline? Like, what happened? What's the Huff?
Muna was describing Spencer having a Huff and Puff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's true.
And as soon as she said it, I thought, oh no, I don't like this. I don't like this.
Yeah. Joseph, hi Joseph, how are you? Looking forward to their reaction on this episode. Yes, the fallout on Twitter has been horrible. True, I get from a gameplay wise why we lost Muna, but Spencer is getting so much backlash on Twitter. I do have some things to say about that. And I'm sure you do as well.
Yep.
So when we get there, I'll probably make a disclaimer of some sort. I do have some opinion, so people are willing to listen just to an opinion about
yes.
whole scenario. Hopefully everybody can be kind with how we're feeling about how it seems on the outside perspective, not being the people in the game.
Or not. Don't be kind. Whatever.
Well, stands are scary. I'm scared of the stands,
Fair. Yeah.
So, we start off the episode with Natalie. And she definitely grew on me this episode. She was kind of a non-entity for me, the first 2 episodes. And, when she calls out Katie, I was like, okay, this girl's got some gravitas and some cojones.
Cojones.
Her voice was a little bit wavering. So I knew that she was holding it back tears. And so I know exactly what she's kind of going through, because there's been times where you have to get back and you're doing this to battle back and all your adrenaline's going, and then someone wants to talk to you and you're just like, I just want to cry.
Yeah.
Relate to how Natalie was feeling, being that you played some of these live reality games before?
I could absolutely relate. I could also see it in a couple of other players when they get flustered or they're getting worked up. You can feel their breathing start to get a little more shallow. The emotion rise in the voice, the quiver that's been happening often this season. And
well, noticed quivered.
Josh was quivering last night, speaking to Spencer.
I've actually heard
quite a few actually
a couple times when she first was talking to last episode. Who was it? I can't remember who it was, but she was going to, tell them what's going on, whatever. And I just hear it a little bit, but then she kind of got her grounds. But then I did a little teeny little quiver at one point.
A little.
So we get reintroduced to Luxury Row. I'm liking this new twist. I also like that people are still rummaging around the house trying to find LOSs, but not knowing that there is a twist for the LOS twist. Yeah. And so we see Natalie going into Luxury Row. What did you feel about her, whether or not she was going to get it? Did you think that she was going to get an advantage of some sort, or?
I was hoping for the same outcome as the previous episode, that there would be 2 advantages still up for grabs and one not. I was hoping it would be replenished so that she would have a better chance of picking one up. It would have been great to have her come in, but I really wanted to see a scene of her finding Josh and being like, hey, Josh, did you find an LOS? This is a great bonding opportunity. This is something that could secure us. She could lie about an LOS and say, I've got one too, or I did find one, something that could kind of get them on the same page.
Absolutely. I definitely was expecting for there to be a moment where they had a bit of a conversation about Luxury Row, wink, wink, So I'm not sure if it just didn't happen or if they didn't share it because it wasn't going to advance the story of the episode. Yeah. But I do expect that to come into play especially after like the next episode when a third person has been to luxury row. Like, I don't think that they can keep that a secret. And I think maybe they didn't share it was because they wanted to save that for piecing together maybe storylines, future episodes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But I definitely wanted to see that though. I wanted to see them like get together and like be like, okay, how are we gonna play this? Like, let's not tell anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm hoping it happens, and we'll see it later on.
I'm sure it'll come into play, right?
Now they did clarify, but maybe you can clarify for me. So they said that the LOS wasn't going to be replenished until it's used within the game. So now, does that mean that there was still an advantage and an LOS, and she just chose the wrong box? Or was there always, like you were thinking, 2 LOSs and 1 LOS is gone, so there was 2 empty boxes and an LOS?
I think that's what the case was. I'm not 100% sure, but that was what my assumption was, that there would be 2 LOSs, and once both of them are gone, they're gone.
Until it's used in the game.
Until it's used, yeah. Unless there's some sort of,
so
it might be till battle back. Sorry?
Say Natalie had received one, and they both don't use it, and then so the next person goes to luxury row, they would just get nothing?
They might have the opportunity to look for one, and then there's just nothing left. So it could be the same piece of paper saying, like, these are your chances. I don't remember if Natalie was told that there was 2 advantages or not. I'm not sure if the wording changed. Maybe Joseph can help us.
Joseph, our historian, do you know what the wording was there about the advantages this round with Natalie? I'm just trying to piece together if it's only LOSs in those boxes, or if she just chose the wrong one.
I think so, but you never know what Audrey might have up her sleeve.
The only reason why I think that it's not is like, why wouldn't you just say LOS? Why would you say advantage? Powers. They say powers.
Yeah, that's one of the major powers in play.
I don't know, it just seems like they would be more specific if it was always LOSs. Just saying. So I don't know. So her gut says the middle envelope, and her gut was wrong. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Like that would eat, like, just because you just kind of got your battle back and this is like, okay, let me come in with power here now. And then it's like, womp, 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 womp.
Yeah.
Empty envelope, drat. And now people eventually are going to think that I do have an LOS. So now I have to play off like I do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, puts a target on their back too. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I mean, she will have a better understanding of who might have the LOS. Maybe Josh, maybe Spencer. She might still trust Spencer a little bit after this round. So I don't know. We'll see. Ooh. I know I keep saying that. I keep saying like we'll see, because I do believe at this point last week, I didn't think the person going home would be going home. So anything can happen. Ellie Goulding. Oh, I messed that up. That Ellie Goulding quote.
I mean, we could pretend like we're editing.
Yes. Anything can happen. Like the Ellie Goulding. Is it Goulding or Goulding? Forget it.
Goulding, but I'm sure that most people pronounce her name incorrectly. So I'd say Goulding. Speaking of trying things a couple times, do you think that Natalie was fed that line when she was returning into the game?
Oh, Natalie, no.
I think that she had to do that.
I just think it was. I have to admit, I did giggle afterwards. I was like, "That's your line coming in." You had all night to think about it.
Right. So when she said. No, sorry. Wait, where's her one? The other one. So there was 2 ones. Okay, so let me first say the Katie one. So the first one was Katie's line, and I'm like, she practiced that line so many times. So her line was, "The jury house just got more fun," and walking into like the room where Jay West book, and it's just like, this was definitely. Which is fine. Like in reality, be like, you kind of set up little scenarios just to help tell the story. So
Yeah.
I totally get it, but it was just totally like, okay, and action, and coming on, the jury house just got more fun.
I like that. I like that inflection too. The drawn out fun.
Fun.
A little vocal gymnastic in there. I love Katie. I mean, the last 2 episodes have really depressed me, but really excited me at the same time. So
True.
that's good. That's good television, though. That's when
That's
you know
great. It's a great cast.
ratings.
Told you. Sam, hi Sam. Thanks for joining us.
Sam. Yeah, Sam. You better believe it, baby.
She's helping you here with your.
He is.
Joseph says, Jay West was reading of all things Harry Potter when we realized that nobody has been successfully voted out of the game. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Because like they all still have the chance to come back. There's nobody like out for good. So that's interesting. But is he referring to a Harry Potter reference? Because I have not read Harry Potter or seen it.
Me neither.
Sorry.
And I don't plan on it.
I feel as though I'm a little bit socially unaware with like a pop culture phenomenon that I have a complete blind spot to. But it's like I was like 30 when the books came out. Like it just was like not necessarily the genre that I want to pick up and read like some big fat book. If I was in high school still, yeah, I would have probably plowed through it. But anyways, if that was a Harry Potter specific comment, Joseph, I'm sorry if I don't get it fully.
I don't think it is, but the fact that no one has been successfully voted out of the game, every person that's been voted out so far has come back. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty for the people playing and the people losing the battle matches, but a statistic, just all the same.
That's what you mean. So now I understand. Yes, I do understand what you mean now. Yes, their votes have not. Who they wanted out of the game has not been the
out of the game.
Person. It's been the drag. The drag is going home. The battle back loser is not the intended target. So that's interesting for sure. Super Tan says, hi, Super Tan. Good episode, but very sad ending. I know. Hi, Wellspring Niagara. Is this Phil from another account? If it is, hi. Jay West didn't look like he got very far in that book, Ella. Well, as both of us are actors in the real world, and so there's certain things that I definitely pick up on when things are staged. And one of them is actually like coffee cups. So I always look to see whether or not there's weight in there, when like to see if they have like their coffee cup that they're drinking, and they're like doing their walk and talks with a coffee cup, and whether or not it has liquid in it. So it's just like the fact that you're noticing that the book was like the first page. I read like the dedication to like 10 times while they're filming that little segment.
Yeah.
What, you were gonna say something, Jojo?
No. I'm just like, what else is he going to be doing? He's probably like, crap, but I'm not alone anymore. Enjoy that solo time.
Katie, Brenda wants Katie, doesn't want Katie to come back, and Billy doesn't want Natalie to come back. And then this is where the line is that Natalie says when she comes out of the barn. I've got something to say. I'm back from the dead, so you better be ready to play.
I mean, maybe it was more of some Billy shade for her to be hearing that. I don't feel like it was directed towards Billy, but Billy did tell her to play hard, or that she needs to start playing hard. So that could have been a little.
Okay, so that's okay. I could take that in. I can take that in a little bit.
I know you can take that in.
Give it to me.
Okay.
So I definitely like that we're just kind of making a more cohesive story and making it more viewer friendly, just the way that things are being edited and like putting all these B-roll segments in. I'm enjoying it. It's making it a more well-rounded TV show instead of just like kind of showing the competitions and then a little bit of conversation. So yeah. I like it, even though I'm teasing it. I like it.
I think that's what having a smaller cast though has allowed us to get to know people a lot more, to see these relationships start at the beginning where they are by episode 3. So I'm kind of happy with having a cast of 13.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helped.
Yes, I think that you're right, because now they want to fill the story in and they just have a little more time and less people to follow around, even though the camera people had their work cut out for them this episode, because what I wrote down. I'm like, okay, where, what? Like, wow,
all
wow.
of the looks to the camera too. There was so many looks to the camera. Everyone was like,
I think that's Brandon's shtick, to be fair.
no, there was a couple of people, but Brandon too, yes.
Brandon definitely is a camera winker, 100%. Yes. And he's also, was him? There was somebody that walked in front of the camera. I think maybe Marcelo came into the room and was standing kind of in front of the camera. And I believe it was Brendan that was like kind of ushering him out to be more obviously open to camera. So it is interesting too to see those little bits as well, to see people becoming more comfortable
aware.
Yeah.
And that, I think that says a lot about a person, is being aware of their surroundings.
Whoa, you cut out on me.
Oh, sorry. I think it's really takes a great player to be aware of everything around them. Using your eyes, your ears, your senses.
The camera to your advantage, because if you want your storyline to be told, you have to have the footage. You know, you can't really play with the cameras involved, a behind the scenes game, because then nobody knows what you're doing and nobody's going to really be rooting for you to be winning if they don't see your moves and your conversation. So I do feel as though some people are using the camera a little bit better than others, like it's part of their storytelling device.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull up yours a little bit after, because I just don't want to talk about that yet because it's so sad. Joseph says, this is when Brendan, with his look in confessional, said he was scared of Brent. I think that Brent isn't playing as messy and is willing to throw away his game as he was in the minis. Yes, he's definitely. I don't think he's playing as messy as the minis at all. No. I think that he's playing to win. Definitely, I think that 100% he's playing to win. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
So Natalie reads the card, and it's majority rules. Now, did I play this in my season? I've only played Sequester Mini once. I played the Astrological Warfare, and all the twists were kind of, not all, but many of them were new, just because they're kind of leaning into the astrology theme. So I don't remember there being an astrology related majority rules. Did you play this twist before? And if so, do you like it? And can you maybe explain how it goes?
Sure. I actually haven't played this twist before. Normally it's a word that is given, or like an answer to a question. I know that there has been ways for people to pre-game this round with using a word that kind of comes out of thin air. I think there was a question during Winners at War 2, and Jatia had an answer that was T. So most of Jatia's allies said T as their answer, though it was like, what's the best mini that blah, 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 blah. So it was not at all to do with what the question was. The premise is to get the majority to land on a specific name, in this case, have the majority, but somehow make the minority end up nominated, if that makes any sense.
Sort of.
Kind of. Struggle there.
From what I gather, majority of rules, since I have not played it either, is that basically there's going to be a question posed by the Sequester bot, and they're supposed to come to a collective answer. And whoever has the collective answer with the majority will be safe for that round, but not safe from the drag. So if you end up being in the minority with the incorrect answer, or with the minority answer, which would then be incorrect, they would be up for elimination. But when one of them goes home, they got to drag only from the people that were in the majority. So Correct. I think that's a great twist, that it doesn't make people just easily just be ousted and targeted as like, oh, they're in the minority, like we're going to get one of them out for sure. It doesn't mean that 100%. So I do like that, because I don't know if that's how the twist goes in the mini specifically.
It's not usually a drag round, so You know,
Yeah.
like once nominations are up, then you just campaign or go after your target. I thought it was really interesting that no one. Do we want to get to the nominees yet?
Maybe
We'll
back.
we'll save it. We'll save it. I'll back it up a little.
Whitney says, "Hi, Whitney. I'm
Hey,
playing
Whit.
Versus now, and I discovered that one of the other players is about 14. They deeply remind me of Brent. What are you playing? What org are you playing? We're both playing an org right now, and I just finished up a closed ID org, and I definitely found with closed ID orgs that people tend to be very colorful with their words, we'll say. So they definitely felt younger to me. But which one are you playing, and what qualities about them did they remind you of Brent? Would be my question. Hi, Wellspring. Phil. Yes, this is Phil. I played majority rules, where we all said soccer except Cassie, who said football, I think.
Yeah, in that case, I think then the one person would be
Just automatically.
automatically eliminated.
Ooh,
And if everyone did the majority, then it would go to the Wheel of Doom, and
misfortune.
no, yeah, the Wheel of Misfortune. Nobody wants to go to the wheel
No.
unless you're at Final Four, then that's fine. But but generally, no one wants to go to the wheel.
Phil also says, but it was the opposite. We all decided on a word, and then at the last minute, Cassie got a fake word, or so he thinks. Yeah, I mean, this is like, to how to play this round is a little bit challenging, just because you never know who's lying to you and who is being honest, and what's the right word, what's the wrong word. With this particular one, they immediately got a group of 7 together, and the group of 7 was Brent, Muna, Josh, Billy, Brendan, Marcelo, and Spencer. So they're all hands in, like we're all voting. I believe they chose Josh to be the real name and Brent to be the fake name. Okay, let's go. And they were kind of all acting, including Brent. I was surprised, like it's going to be this way no matter what. And so I thought it was interesting that some people took their paranoia away and didn't really still believe that people could have possibly changed their minds. Brent did kind of put in the fear of God in here when, like during like they had things like, yes, if it changes, they get pulled in for the battle back, and I was like, throw it out there, make them scared. But I was surprised that him and I think Marcelo didn't think that it could have possibly changed.
Yeah, I think it's well known that the name most definitely changes by the end. But it also depends on how many people are playing the round in particular. If you have a majority of 7 and a lot of your allies are there, and there are people that you think that could end up on the block, and you're okay with that, you might want to stick with that 7 initially. But looking around the room, you're just taking a group of people and starting the first name. So the chaos, the paranoia begins there, and usually doesn't hold up until the last couple of minutes. And you find your true allies, or you find out what the true name is going to be.
I guess what I'm surprised about was the fact that I would have probably taken in consideration of the people that were not in that group of 7 and see if anybody had ties with them that were in this particular group of 7, which we learned Billy did. Billy didn't want basically her entire alliance who wasn't in that room to be the ones that were up for elimination. And so that, not recognizing that people might have ties out of that people that they didn't want to be up for elimination, was I think a blind spot in a few people's just kind of going like, yes, we're 100% in with Josh being the name.
Yeah.
I would have probably, I mean, I'm just saying this obviously from like I'm not on my couch, but from my table. Who knows what I would have done if I was actually in the house, but I would think that I would be considerate of people maybe just saying yes because you say yes to all alliances, but maybe or have my own agenda.
Yeah, I think it's circumstantial. It depends on timing a lot of the time, being in the right place at the right time, and having a target in mind, having a group of people in mind. You might see the same 3 people running around together. Well, I might not want to go with whatever name they're going with. I saw Brent and Spencer together quite a bit. That's an easy pairing in my mind with the dynamics of this cast to leave them out of whatever the vote is, or whatever the majority is, I should say. But that can come back to bite you in the butt, clearly.
So Joseph says Jules did that in a twist that Phil brought up. Cassie was the only one eliminated. I think if it was just one outside, it would be an easy elimination.
Yeah.
Right, and then but it's kind of a drag round into the battle match, so it made it a little bit less like cut and dry like that. Like they could have easily just like made Brent be the one person on the outs and just vote him out if it was that way. But I like the fact that it has the drag element of the people that were safe, which makes them kind of rethink their strategy there.
Yeah.
So Whitney about her org, the game is just a small thing on Discord, all winners because that's just how I do. Okay, Whitney, we know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
How to win these games, yes.
Yeah.
Whitney, as for Brent, it's mostly the fact that they both seem to think that they are deeply chaotic, but I'm not sure they realize how chaotic they are. But yeah, interesting. I think that Brent is has a lot of energy. I don't know if he's chaotic because I feel as though it's well thought out, but maybe not the landing or the delivery of. But I don't think that he's just like anything's happening. Like I think he is more controlled, methodical in what his intentions are, and maybe just expressive, we'll say, that may seem to be chaotic to those that might be more reserved. That's my thoughts about Brent. I don't think he's chaotic, really. I feel like we would do really well if I played a game with him. You know what I mean?
With Brent?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I think that we'd get along really well. Because I think he likes strategizing and he likes talking about the plan and he likes putting things into action. And that's something that I really enjoy about playing with him, is being able to think about 900 scenarios.
Yeah, why not?
That's what I want to do. I want to think about the scenarios. So Joseph says, I thought that they would have put people like Spencer in the majority because as we found out of the rules was that whoever was voted out had to pick someone that was in the majority. I think that they weren't planning on voting out Spencer when they left him on the outside. I think that they were planning on voting out Brent, and just how things happened was just a casualty of the round. But I don't think that he was the original real target. What do you think?
I can't tell. I think people were happily. I think it was so split because they had. Sorry, I'm eating Mike and Ike's. They're getting stuck on my teeth. I think there was a case for Brent or Spencer to go, and they both fought pretty hard, clearly. Mm-hmm. But throwing Marcelo in the mix was really interesting because that was someone that could have a vote thrown on them, which Billy took full advantage of. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of surprised a few more people didn't do that. But they also saw what happened in Ali I think the round before.
Throw their votes is because if their vote was exposed, and like the person that they were supposed to be maybe protecting or helping went home, they would just look like, oh well, you didn't care for me to be here to support me by voting the other person away. So I think it could have allowed them to expose their loyalties or non-loyalties. So I think the only person that it worked for in this case would have been Billy.
Yeah, and it did.
And it did. So Shireen wants to follow up with Natalie. So she kind of like pulls her away and gets her into a room just to talk to her about what happened the last round and who they can trust and whatnot. The hand holding, as you're saying, was happening again. I think it's the season of the double hand hold.
I just want to grab everyone and everything, but also at the same time, it's like, how close are these people? You know, like I'm a touchy-feely type of person, but if I don't know someone well enough, or if I don't know someone, if I've known someone for less than 3 days, I take that back. Let me rewind. I was gonna get really slutty for a second.
I love slutty.
I was like, oh, a stranger, whatever. I think there's a time and a place to be holding hands or touching people without their A-OK, especially during something so intense as Sequester. It's a game. I get all the hugs and kisses. I get the sweeties, the huns, the loves. But I don't know. I think it depends who's touching my hands.
Well, I think that with them, we might have talked about this or might have heard from another podcast, and I agree with this sentiment that they've been so attention starved and like touch of another human being that like, they just want to connect and have those like they're just like, I need to connect with you because I've been connecting with people for the last 9 months over a computer screen for the most part. So
Yeah.
I think that that's part of it too, is like really just like hunkering down and connecting with people, you know?
Just saying, like, do you want to make out?
I mean, I would love if there was a love connection that was happening. Do they have any time to like kind of chill, or is it all just game all the time?
I think it's, I don't know.
I wonder.
Maybe there's a spin the bottle episode.
Make meals together and like, do you have to do it in silence? Like, I would like to do that. When he says, you know, after the outcome of the episode, I just feel the need to be shady to someone, and Brenda's the easy target. I got therapy later. That's where we'll really work through. Yeah, don't worry. I mean, I think Brent is assured enough in himself to be able to take anybody having judgment on his gameplay and how he screen. I don't think that he gets really offended necessarily about people having their opinion, because he does have opinions of other people as well. And so I think he realizes that, you know, he's just put himself in the position right now just to be someone that people are looking at their games and their actions and stuff like that. So I don't think that he would get offended. But if you want to work something out in therapy, I 100% support that too.
Yeah. Do you plan on sending Brent the bill, or? Oh my God, Ashley Keenan.
Hi, Ashley.
Lovely.
I think the game will be allowed obvious shield for upcoming rounds. Absolutely. I mean, which is really great because, you know, if he's already being the shield that people keep around in the game, he may be able to get to the end. He just has to get over maybe like 1 or 2 more eliminations where he's like the easy target, and then he might be able to like turn things around and make other people targets. So the longer he stays in the game, the more difficult it's going to be to get him out, I think.
I don't know. I think all the shields are losing the battle matches and ending up in the jury at this point. We've had 3 players who, from episode 1, were up for consideration to go, and they've all been voted out. They've made it back into the game, but they've all been voted out. This shield bullshit to me is a little much. There's a difference between playing a 5-hour game and a difference between playing a week-long game. And if you need a shield for 3 or 4 days, good luck, because they're probably going to beat you. Well, they're probably going to take you out too.
I think the shield thing, though, is that like you can always vote for Brent, and I think that that's how they're kind of determining the shield.
You can always vote for anyone. People like Brent's line last night saying that these battle matches are gender neutral challenges. This is not fucking Survivor. Come on, everybody. I don't get it. You can vote Spencer out. That's allowed. You can vote Brenda. You can vote Jacob out. That's allowed. You're allowed to vote Muna out. You're allowed to vote Katie out. It's not going to happen, and it hasn't happened because those 3 people taken out were.
I would want the shield in there so I could do my best to hide. I would try. That's what I'd be trying to do.
Sure. Day 1, day 2, yes.
Or day 3.
Day 3, yeah. And 7.
For sure, Ashley. I think that's why Spencer was voted out, was because he'll fire in brimstone on Twitter. What does that mean?
But it caused hellfire.
On Twitter. What's brimstone?
It's hellfire and brimstone. Isn't that a location? Burn that city to the ground, maybe. I've heard the phrase. I think I don't like. I would have voted out Spencer. I would have voted out Spencer last week too, though.
Yes, I would have voted out Spencer both these times. I wouldn't have been afraid to I wouldn't be afraid to call my shot. I don't think. I think.
I would assume not. I mean, I've never met the guy. Maybe if I was playing a game with him, it would be different. But watching the show, sure. Too much hand holding. Yes.
In COVID time, it's true. It is very interesting because I don't think I've held somebody's hand in like 9 months, which is interesting. Whitney says to Ashley, the issue with keeping Brent around as a shield is that he can think and talk at such a pace that he's always likely to come up for a reason that resonates.
Yep.
It's true. I mean, I would keep Brent around for sure. He's flashier. He's a flashy shield.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
Definitely don't get too much further, but in this round, anyone but me would be my tactic. I would just want to be in the majority and not be angered by the person that's being voted out. Whitney, the therapy bill will be sent to Spencer, actually. Oh.
Fair enough.
Sam says, on a totally different note, I wonder how much heat Billy will get for throwing your vote, since I don't know if Brent and Spencer knew that Billy would vote for Marcelo. I think she could play off I was just really scared. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't make the wrong decision. And I like you both. I didn't want you guys to be mad at me. She could probably play that off, and they'll lock it. But I think it will make her look kind of weak and less hard. That she's playing less hard than she actually is. So I think it kind of could go to her favor.
It could.
Definitely. Joseph says, let me sum it up this way. Spencer shouldn't have picked Muna, not because she's a threat, because she's a woman and a person of color. Now, this is, do we want to talk about this yet? Okay, well, let's just get through a little bit. We're almost there, and then
let's get there.
And then we'll get there for the last little bit. So Muna actually wants Brent out and kind of let Spencer in on this, and Muna just wants Brent to be in this game anymore. And my question is, though, Brent would never ever have voted out Muna. And so this is where the beginning of my frustrations with how the episode went is that she's been driving the narrative of who's been voting out and stuff like that. And as soon as somebody does something to her, she kind of switches the vote. And I don't think that Brent was ever planning on voting her out. What do you think?
I think the issue was Brent was saying her name, not necessarily that she needs to be a target or that she needs to be voted out or dragged, but he was saying her name out loud to people, giving them information that Muna had given to him. So the fact that kind of came back to her and that she heard that he was saying her name, that's not going to end up there was a beautiful quote, and I wish I could say it word for word, about mentioning Muna's name, looking left and right before you cross the street on her name, whatever it was. And that's something that should be taken seriously. If you said her name, she's going to target you. She heard Brent was saying her name, no matter the context, and she wanted to take a shot. But she's also been after Spencer for the last 3 rounds since the beginning. So either way, I think she was in trouble for the battle match.
I agree, and so that's why we're kind of painting the picture as to where I stand, sort of in the potential disagreement in opinions about how this went down. So before we get there, though, so Rachel doesn't really trust Jacob. She feels as though the line of this 2020 seems like they're playing chess and we're playing checkers. Speaking of Jacob about this, Natalie now is the new fake name. And Natalie's making nice with Billy, which I liked. I think that smart gameplay is to I'm okay. I knew you had to do what you had to do. Make these people feel good about the fact that they stabbed you in the back, and then you use that as ammunition later for sure. Jacob said that he didn't want to take Muna to the end, which was interesting. I mean, we kind of knew this when he said that Marcella was his number one. Muna had said before that she would take Jacob to the end. So that was an interesting difference of how they look in each other's eyes to each other. But Natalie does say that she would be willing to take out Muna to Jacob. But then now Natalie wants Jacob out. I'm like, man, people just
get it together. Work on one target at a time.
So Muna wants to change the vote from Josh. And now it's these new 8 people in a room, and they're changing it to Rachel as the name. And and Natalie ends up being the fake name. Is that correct?
Rachel was the name, and Natalie was the fake name.
The fake.
Yes.
But still, it's running around that Josh is the good name and Brent is sort of the fake name as well.
From the beginning of the round, yes.
Yeah, so that's still kind of looming for Marcelo, Brent, and Spencer, it seems. Marcelo, we have him looking for an LOS. Brent tells Jacob, though, that it's really Josh. And this was like, I was like, oh, I hated this pie in the face moment because, like, it already changed, like, time and a half that he has no clue about. But Jacob connects back and finds out that, like, what the actual plan is being Rachel, and that Brent is going to be left on the outs here. I thought it was very smart of Josh running out his time with Marcelo because he didn't want to tell Marcelo the real vote. But I did think it was quite like sketchy just because he's going to figure it out that, like, hey, at the end of the round, you were talking to me and you didn't tell me.
Spencer.
Right?
It was Spencer that he was running out time with.
Cornering. I said Marcelo. Sorry. Yes, Spencer.
Okay. Especially because Marcelo's probably not going to be the vote out of these three people. So, but Josh at the same time, like, I don't know, maybe he didn't truly believe that he was in the majority. Some people really celebrated when they found out that they were safe from the chopping block. So you don't really ever know until you're told. You might think that you're in the majority, but
actually,
who knows what happens the last 10 seconds.
So Ashley says, would you always try to be in the biggest group at all times? And that was what Josh's strategy was, like, always be in the majority group this whole round, just following people around. I think that would be the smartest way to play. Not ever be alone, not only be with two people because, like, where is everybody else? Definitely following people around is probably the best strategy to at least be in the know if things shift or changes, or they have to lie in front of your face. You know what I mean? So yes, that would be probably my strategy. You too?
Yeah, I think so. And especially the last 2-3 minutes, being in a room was ideal for those people. But if I wasn't seeing people, you better believe I'd be running around like a maniac trying to find a group of folks, taking one away, saying, hey, I noticed that there was 7 people in that room. Let me be number 8. What do you say? Let's put 2 people up on the block instead of 3. But at the same time,
I think it would be beneficial for Josh to have told Marcelo how things were going.
I mean, Marcelo got really lucky because he had people flocking to him after the nominations were announced, apologizing, swearing up and down that he is safe, showing
his acting was
great. And it was honestly really sweet. Like, I liked seeing it. People were he can get a lot of intel from that. People owe him one. He took one for the team. So he was the best setup this episode, 100%.
For sure.
He was the safest player in episode 3.
Whitney says the issue with that is that it makes it hard to pass info and code words along to your allies. Yeah, no, exactly. But that's you want to make it difficult for them for you to be out of the know. So you follow everybody around so that, like, they have to do some fancy footwork if they want you to not know what the actual plan is. Ashley says a group of 4 would be ideal. Then wonder with them. I think you need to be in the majority though, because 4 could easily have been the 4 out of the majority. It could have been, what is it? They're at maybe 7 and 4, is it? Something like that. No. 6 and 4? I don't know.
11.
It's 11? Oh, 7 and 4?
No.
So yeah, you need to, I think, have more people for that, Ashley. But
I think you needed a 6.
So Brent was gobsmacked. I love the use of that word. I haven't heard it in a while. Gobsmacked is a good freaking word. Spencer feels backstabbed, bamboozled, and betrayed. He was pissed. Whew. We already mentioned Marcelo was playing for the Oscar here of, like, betrayed and, like, am I the target? Is it me? Oh my God. I thought it was great. It was great reactions from all the people that were now going to be nominated. So the mad scramble starts happening, but it basically ended up being between Spencer and Brent. Brent basically saying that you're going to have to go against Spencer one of these days, so you might as well do it now where there's more likely that many people to choose from, as opposed to it's like, well, it's got to be you later on in later rounds. So I definitely agree with Brent's reasoning. What do you think about the back and forth that was happening here?
Yeah, I 100% agree with Brent in that sense. I think Spencer should have been the vote last week to give him more of an option to take someone else instead of you. But I don't know. Especially after episode 2, the threat of throne votes and certain people being exposed, certain not. I would have just stuck to my guns and been like, yeah, I'm taking out this person, and as long like I would just tell him like I'm voting for you. Yeah, there's not. I don't know if you can change my mind. Try to. Cool. Anything can happen. I get that.
Yeah, for sure. Anything could happen. What he says, what I would do is stick to whoever is at the top of the pecking order, like Jacob or Muna, and assume that they will get the right name. True.
Oh.
But I think you still would need to be in the big groups because they could, as one-on-one, Muna or Jacob could lie to you. In the big hard for a collective group to lie unless they've already decided on the lie name in front of you. So if you're following them around, they can't switch it up. So Billy, Spencer, and Brendan are planning on voting out Brent. Spencer kind of makes a final 2 with Brendan, but Brendan's just kind of laughing about the fact that there's no real final 2 in Sequester, which is true. There's a final 4, or get to the end. I mean, you can do a final 2, I guess, but you can't really.
An ideal final 2, but.
But it's a more difficult game to get there, both of you, into the final 2. Final 4, yes. Final 2, not so much. What did you think about Brent using "Keep Me for the Ratings" as part of his campaign strategy?
Why not? I say like grab the pots and the pans, use whatever you can. It might have popped in his head. It might have been something he thought of beforehand. I don't think I didn't take it as a slap in the face to the other players like Brendan did, because they're all clearly giving great television and playing beautiful games. But maybe in the moment, I would think like, oh, that's pretty insensitive, and be saying my game's shit. I don't know. But using that as strategy, sure, why not?
I resonated. It's kind of like if Shireen ever said that too. Like Shireen, I think, is a huge ratings draw, like big name. Like everybody else is like within the Sequester community is a big draw for sure. But I do feel as though Brent and Shireen have outside of that world, and with them being on the show is bringing a lot more visibility to Sequester. I do. So he's not wrong, and I think that it just might have offended, Brendan or whomever by making them feel as though they're not as important in the game as they are. So I agree with Brent. Like I do think he is a big draw, and he is a ratings draw 100%. But I don't know if Brendan was the right person to share that with.
They're all capable of great television, and that's what I love to see.
Well, not necessarily great television, but it's ratings we're talking about.
Well, I mean, like gameplay, television ratings, sure.
I laughed out loud though when he said "keep me for ratings." I thought it was funny.
It is.
Okay, Shireen and Brandon hug it out, or Brendan, sorry, hug it out. What am I right? I'm not going after the athletic guy. So she says that to Brendan, and he wasn't even really thinking about that. And so the fact that she kind of pieced something together, I think, was a little bit of a slip on her part of kind of holding that she's classified him as an athletic type of guy. And so I think that she might have slipped a little bit with showing her cards there, that she does consider him as an athletic threat, Yeah,
I don't think it was the biggest slip, but this could be foreshadowing for something else. It could be put in there for a reason. We don't know, obviously. But to me, it didn't really push the story. So I think it might come up in future episodes, maybe.
I So Joseph says, LOL, 3,200 people were watching the episode live. Brett was right, but it was funny when he said it because he was grasping his jaw too, and it worked. I know.
It did, yeah.
And Whitney says, I think that Brent's rating comments speak to his biggest strength, though. He'll keep talking until he finds something that sticks. It's true. He keeps on trying. He doesn't bow down. Like, he is going to keep fighting.
That's expected of him.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, yeah, like that is who he is. That's the type of player he wants to be. Yeah, I fully expect that.
And I love that. It's my favorite part of his game. Like, no quit. There's no quit.
Hell no.
So Muna wants Spencer out. How did that flip again?
It flipped because I think Brent
Brent
threatened, but I don't think he would have actually taken her to a battle match unless he was super sour.
Well, this is the thing, is that he got the little saying wrong, but we knew what he was trying to get at, is that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Sure. But then and a third time. And that's the thing too, is that he may have been really hurt by the fact that, like, she keeps on lying to him and, like, trying to vote him out and not voting him out and whatnot. And I completely respect the fact that he didn't want to hear her out. And from what he said in the confessionals, I felt that he doesn't have to listen to what she has to say. You know what I mean? Like, she wronged him. And his rationale was that I don't want her to just be trying to make things nice with me, so I don't pull her into a battle match. What she did hurt me. I didn't appreciate it. She's allowed my game to be on the line multiple times, and I don't want to hear any more about it. Like, I could totally understand why he didn't want her to start, like, trying to appease him and, like, tell him what he wants to hear and, like, say that, you know, I'm never going to vote for you. Like, he doesn't trust her anymore. And he doesn't have time to have him like suck away his campaigning time with other people that he may have a little bit more trust in. So I personally agreed with Spencer for wanting to use his time to get people who haven't necessarily stabbed him in the back, or maybe only one time, not three. So what did you think about him kind of shutting her down when she wanted to apologize?
Yeah, I think in the moment, it was valid, but at the same time, there's a way to talk to people. And 3 days of aggression, I'm not going to sit here and, like, I didn't live in that house. I don't know what their interactions were for those 3 days, but clearly they weren't fond of one another for whatever reason. But yeah, at the same time, Muna was coming for Spencer. He didn't have time to hear her out. I think she did say that she was trying to just, you know, like, take the target off of herself a little bit by trying to smooth something over. But why waste that time? It was clear that she was a vote for Spencer. So why waste your time on Muna? Makes sense.
So Joseph says, because he didn't want to hear Muna out, fellow Mini alumni think he is a male chauvinist pig who wanted her out simply because she's a woman. It's hard for people to see Spencer winning. I mean, okay, I could just be conditioned to expect men to act the way that Spencer was acting, and I wasn't in the house, so I didn't know what it felt like and how his presence might be, perceived. But I didn't notice it. Like,
I did, especially when he had started, like, yelling about the battle match, and I can't wait to take someone to the battle match. I can't wait to do this. So that maybe that was some of the aggression that was coming out. But at the same time, that is the game, and being an asshole isn't always a bad move.
Yes, I mean, I don't know.
I don't think Spencer's winning a final two anytime soon. But
no, that he have a lot of work cut out for him to get those votes. Especially since everybody that's been in the house is going to be on the jury. So I think it will be a problem for him to win in the end. But from just an outward perspective, maybe if I go back and look to see with, like, how the response is from the community about how he's been, maybe then I'll be able to witness it before more. But from just watching it, I didn't notice anything that was like a big red flag in somebody being labeled as something as such. So I don't know if it's just my conditioning, or if if people are being maybe more sensitive for whatever reason. Maybe they played with them and they triggered something. I'm not sure. But personally, when I was watching, I didn't think that he was targeting her because she's a person of color. I didn't feel that from him at all. I felt, in my opinion, that it was because she was doing him wrong and she wanted him out, and he wanted to retaliate by taking out the one person that was kind of gutting for him and has a lot of social capital. Kind of what Muna says goes, right? And so
there it is.
So if she wants him out, I can understand him wanting her out, or at least going up against her, because she has such good pull with the people in the house that get rid of that, and maybe he can have a little more control or do a little bit better in the game.
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. I think it's really hard to find any breathing room when you're playing from the bottom. And I do believe that Spencer's been playing from the bottom since the beginning. I don't know if it's bad social skills or just not finding the right connections right away. Whatever it is, people see him as a physical threat, clearly, but he's also, like maybe speaking when he spoke with Shireen and Rachel and saying, like, I'm going to take someone to the battle match that I know I can win, that I can beat. So, like, there are things that he has said in the past that have kind of been, okay, cool. Not the best. But
in the past, like in this season, or like outside?
I think in this season, yeah, like he kind of has been discombobulating a little bit here and there with playing from the bottom, and I get that. Muna is a legend in the Sequester mini world. She's a Black Muslim woman playing a social strategy game. Of course, you and I are going to root for her and want her to do the best and kick ass. But she's been pretty okay the last 3 days, or the last 3 rounds of this game, and playing from the top, in my opinion.
Yes, she has been playing for the top 100%. But then there was a point when Billy was talking to Muna about like whatever was going down in the votes, and my first interest is like, Billy, I wouldn't trust Muna. That's what I was feeling in that moment, because I was feeling as though, as much as like I loved watching her gameplay, I do feel that she was being a little bit messy in the sense that she would just switch her target so immediately, and that is the person that everybody had to get out. And so for me, when I was watching that, I was like, I was getting wary of Muna, because I feel as though she doesn't necessarily have any loyalties to anybody, but herself is what I was seeing, which is fine. You're playing a game. You want to win. Like, so, but I was getting worried for Billy trusting Muna, because I feel as though Muna would have just, done whatever.
I think that Girls Alliance is a thing, though. I do.
Who are the girls?
With Muna, Rachel, Shireen, and Billy.
Okay.
I do believe that is a legit alliance, especially because it has been brought up, and little like edits in the corner saying like Girls Alliance formed on day 0. I'm like, okay, then I believe that these 4 truly do want to work together. I think what might have gotten Muna in a little bit of trouble was Brent telling her that Rachel would probably be the person that Spencer would drag in. He did say like that. Spencer said that he's fucking tired of Rachel, blah, 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 blah. And I think that might have given her a little bit more, okay, like, as long as it's not me, I'm still willing to vote him out. It would suck, obviously, for her to lose one of her closest allies, but better than herself.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, like, is that there was me watching as a viewer was losing my trust in Muna in a confidant. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which is good gameplay, but it also, if it backfires, a lot of people could be mad at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Brent was talking about how he deserves to be there, and I think he does deserve to be there, especially with somebody that's like, watched so many seasons and critiqued different seasons of different online reality game shows and whatnot. I do think he deserves to be there, but not more than everybody else. And I think that being a little bit careful about saying that in front of other people, because it's like everybody deserves to be there. Nobody really more than the other person. Everybody's reason is at 100% valid. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
I do think he deserves to be there. So yeah, you're right. Brent telling everybody that Spencer says that he's choosing Rachel, I think was the best for his game being safe in the end, because people are like, okay, well, it's probably gonna be Rachel. Like, good, it's anybody but me.
Yeah.
And I'm happy though that Brent didn't say that he was planning on pulling in Muna, because that might have made him like a tasty target as well. Because if he's going to be pulling in Muna, then okay, anybody but me. So I'm happy that he kept, as far as we can tell, anyways, his mouth shut in that regard. Like he didn't tell anybody about him wanting to pull in Muna as well.
Except for Muna, I think he told Muna that he would take her in.
Didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, Muna didn't tell anyone.
It's kind of like Katie and the wedding of necessity.
The marriage of necessity.
So back from the beginning, Whitney says, I'm just mad, to be honest. Rest in peace, Muna. So
not that far.
Pretty much what ends up happening is, okay, I love seeing the masks in the day, which was like, those masks are like,
I would love one.
I want one of those masks.
If Audrey's watching, we're in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Christmas happening.
Christmas is coming up.
Birthday's happening.
We'll take some merch.
Maybe for, our Aquarius birthday, Audrey.
I'm a Taurus, so
yeah,
I'll wait a couple months.
May, like 6 months from now.
Yeah.
But January, February, not so much. Okay, sorry. Let's just going back here to get caught up. Okay, so it feels like to Whitney, he's saying this, that people hate Spencer that took out Muna. Muna, Jacob, and Katie have all been the final three based on their reputation in Sequester community. That's it. Yes, and I think that this is also could be a little bit of why people are kind of going to bat for Muna right now, is because she is so respected, and maybe they didn't feel as though it was fair in the way that she came up or went out. But so what ended up happening was Spencer was eliminated. So Brent now is safe, and he was really happy about the fact that he didn't have the majority of the votes. Obviously, Spencer is pissed.
His reaction was so good too. Like dropping to his knees, so dramatic.
So dramatic. Spencer asked to see 3 votes, so he asked to see Josh's vote. So Josh voted out Brent.
Yep.
I think it's good for them having kind of been grouped together in the last episode. So him even doing that, it might cause a rift with Brent, but I think it's going to be good to meet them be more separate. Billy's vote was called out, and she did the Marcella vote like she was saying she was going to do. And he calls out Jacob's vote also, and Jacob had voted out Spencer. So Muna is the one that's selected for the battle match with Spencer. And Muna was not going down with the fight, which we never expected her to. Now, she also, though, targeted Jacob, who is part of the, Black community. And I would have thought to a certain degree that maybe she wouldn't come for him. But, he did vote for Spencer to be out of this game. And then Spencer is pulling in Muna. So what do you think about that dynamic, especially with the conversation that's happening in Twitter community right now?
Well, Spencer did state that he would take out one of the 4 people that had agreed at the beginning of the round to eliminate Josh, not to eliminate Josh, to use Josh's name. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, I believe it was Josh, Muna, Jacob, and Billy that were in the room with him. 4 people, check their votes. Josh's vote lined up to what he said he was going to do. Billy's, I would look at her and say, okay, well, you did that I get what you're doing. Cool. Jacob, unless Jacob told Spencer what he was doing, I highly doubt he did, because Spencer let it be revealed. I don't know. I think he was going to choose Muna no matter what. I don't think it mattered what she said. I think he was going to do it. He was going to bring her regardless.
Part of why he didn't want to hear her out is because he was already planning on choosing her. If she screwed him over again, he was going to probably do that. And with the fact that she didn't honor, at least A, let him know that the vote was changing, or B, stick to the plan that they all put their hands in and agreed to. And so, there's only a few people to choose from, but she had done him wrong a few more times than the other people had. And so I understand why he pulled her in.
Yeah, that he was aware of anyway. I mean, I get it. Like, I think Muna came on the attack right away. Like, no, this is not how I wanted to see it, or how this is going to go down. And I think if she took a deep breath first and let him get out the anger, get out whatever he had to say, maybe combating it a different way could have helped. I think he would have taken her regardless, though.
So when he says
he's taking the top player with him.
Spencer says a lot of arrogant things, which I, as a Latino Asian mix, I have definitely associated with toxic masculinity in my communities, but I don't think that he was acting in a targeted manner. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that I didn't feel that it was targeted, but I wasn't in the house and I didn't see all maybe, facts that could be leading up to having that perspective. So, but from what I saw, it didn't feel to me like I'm always the one that's like, oh, I call racism here, systemic racism. Like, I definitely have a radar for seeing things like that happen, especially on the screen. But I didn't see it. So, but it doesn't mean it didn't exist. Yep. I just want to add that too. So the battle match, though, is
I have to be honest here. I stopped watching at this point, and I immediately fast forwarded the video to the end. I couldn't wait, and then I just couldn't watch it.
This is going to be a controversial statement of mine. I was surprisingly rooting for Spencer.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Because
why?
I felt as though she fumbled her game. I think that she overplayed her hand a couple of times. I think that switching the vote to you know what I mean? She was doing a lot, which we want to see her do as a player, someone on her screen. Like, yes, she's being entertaining, she's steering the boat or whatnot. But I felt that she was doing just a little bit too much. And I wanted to see her get her comeuppance for whatever reason. Because I know. I'm sorry, guys. I love her as a human being. I loved watching her play. But for whatever reason, I was.
You know what? You're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I don't fault you for it, obviously. But I don't agree.
I know you don't agree.
I agree with you. The fact that I don't think it was. I think Brent going home meant that she wasn't going to be taken into a battle match. I think if at this point, whenever Spencer goes home, unless someone did him really dirty, she would be the person that he would be taking. Yeah. So wouldn't have voted for him if I was her, especially her.
I mean, she just has had her hands in all the different cookie jars of like steering the strategy. And so I just feel that it was just a little bit, she didn't nurture that relationship enough for him to not want to. I know that you're probably going to say that he didn't give her a chance to, but it was too little too late in my opinion. And I kind of just wanted to see like, hey, you thought you could get one up on me, but I'm going to get one up on you. And I think that that's where I wanted to see him succeed, because she tried to get him out, and in her trying to target him, he was able to get her out, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I get what you're saying. I just hate it.
I know. Well, I mean, I hate it. I hated everybody going out, but I just noticed in that moment, you just notice who you're rooting for. And
so
I was surprised that I was rooting for Spencer in that moment. Sorry, don't come for me, guys, but it's just how I was feeling. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. You don't have anything to apologize for, girl. Nothing.
Thank you. Okay,
so
I said about that Brent's ability to talk under something sticks out as a strength, but I wonder if it's a double-edged sword regarding deserving to be here. He seems to offend as much as he persuades. It's true. I think he's probably going to learn how to navigate that the longer that he stays in the game. Like, I think that he was better. Are you still there, Jojo? This episode, with how he was being persuasive, because he was on the chopping block, and so people are expected him to be trying everything and anything. And so I think it went over better this round. But yes, I do agree that his strength is his double-edged sword here. Do you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Ashley stands the Taurus.
Yes, Tauruses.
Do we
Stan
though?
Ashley.
Just kidding. My brother's a Taurus. My favorite kisser in the world's a Taurus. James says, hey, thanks for the stream, but I see we're all mourning Muna together.
I'm wearing black on purpose.
Pardon?
I'm wearing black on purpose.
Me too. I didn't want her to go out like this. I didn't think that this was how it was going to happen. Woody says, truly, the next time my ex calls me dramatic, I'm going to refer to them to the man of the season. Right? Joseph says,
like,
Katie leaving has the core line shook, and I agree with Chantele. I love Muna, but I was judging based on her gameplay. I think Muna and Jacob were paranoid after Katie left. Yes, I agree. Yes, her gameplay wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. That's probably why I was not rooting for her. But I want her to be in the game. Like, I don't want her to be out of the game, but you know the drill. Joseph says, I was scared to say it because I think people would say I was stupid because we're supposed to worship the ground when it walks on is the vibe that I got. Exactly. And that's kind of why I've been super hesitant about just stating how I was feeling. Go ahead.
I don't think I think everyone can think whatever the fuck they want when it comes down to it. I'm not afraid of Twitter or people, sure. But I think
people in the comments can be really mean. You haven't talked to them yet.
Come for me. come for me, comments.
Go ahead.
Get a rep.
Joseph says, I'm a fan of the movie, but this was a huge game move by Spencer, and people are pissed about on Twitter that Spencer did it. I have to agree with you here, Joseph. Like, everybody in this game, we gave them all props in the beginning as all being completely capable of getting to the end and winning.
Yep.
And Muna is playing this game, and Spencer saw her as a very influential piece that he would need to take out probably to get to the end. Because it seems as though however Muna wants to steer the vote, that is the way the vote goes. And that's really powerful in a game like this. Mm-hmm. And so if this person has already done them wrong a few times, and they have the opportunity to at least go up against them and take out the queen, the chess piece, like, you got to call your shot here. Like if they called Rachel into there, like that would have been kind of a weak move. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, I think I don't think
weak move.
A weak move. Fair. Yeah, that I get.
CJ says, why was everybody so scared of Muna? Good job, Spencer. I mean, it's just like what I said. Like, she's very influential. She's great at this game. She's very likable and
really smart.
Really smart, and has really great like diary room quips.
Yeah,
very funny. She's very, very intelligent with how she kind of constructs her sentences. Whitney says, Jojo not being afraid of Twitter reminds me of when I was a kid and I wasn't afraid of us.
Burn.
Twitter's scary, man.
Burn, baby.
By the heat that I got from Love Island.
I remember. Yikes.
Scary people. But I understand that they are being faithful and loyal and wanting to really support a woman of color that they see themselves in. And so I understand maybe not coming for, the Oprahs of the world or the other super influential people that are part of the Black or person of color community. And so I understand that when someone maybe takes a shot at them, it kind of hurts them because this is like our role model and someone that we're seeing on the TV. But I'm just looking at it personally as a game situation. And so I don't want to be offending anybody who's taking this as more of like a life situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So it was a memory matchup. My question about the actual game was, was it like, Muna, go, your turn, and then Spencer, and then they just kind of like waited till they were prompted to make their next move? Because it kind of looked like they're doing it simultaneously, but it wasn't very clear.
I didn't watch it.
Right. Anybody have any answers here? Anybody?
I got super depressed and just didn't.
I liked it. I wish that we could see the images because we just could kind of see them from afar, but it was past like player alumni. I feel like they were kind of morphed into kind of I don't know if it was like a zombie or whatnot. It just seemed like they had some distortion. But I would have liked to see the pictures and see who were the faces. Like, we didn't see all of them. So that would have been cool. But Spencer did win and did send Muna to jury, which was a shocker. A shocker.
Yep.
A shocker. So I am sorry, sad to see her not win this game or not make it further. I didn't feel as though it was a targeted move because of anything other than game and how they were interacting in the game together. I'm sorry that she had to go out this way because obviously we want to see her do super well. But now who are we going to vote for to come back?
Well, I'm rooting for 2 out of the 3. So far,
Yeah.
The odds are pretty good.
And not to, harp on Muna going out, but I am happy she went out because she's on your team, and I already had 2 people gone.
How dare you?
I didn't want you to have the better team.
I was willing to share her with you.
I love her, though. I do want to see her play again. It's always exciting. It's always interesting. I do think that she probably learned something new about maybe gameplay in person that might be a little bit part of her strategy moving forward. I can see her definitely coming back if they ever did like an all-star season or returning players. Like, I could see her coming back to take the title. I think that she was really capable of winning, but I think that she this game got out of her reach.
Yeah, it's not over until the battle match, though.
True.
That's when I'll start to make my solid picks. For sure.
All right. Fine.
Yes.
So, anybody else in the chat to have any other comments to say about this episode? Muna, you played a great game. I think this last week or last episode wasn't best for you, just for how you went out, whatever. But I do think that you're still an exceptional game player. And I understand Spencer wanting to get you out because you are that good. I do feel as though, your social capital was probably what you didn't realize was so strong, and that made it really scary for Spencer moving forward. Because it's like, what you said went. Like, what Muna said happened. And
until it didn't.
Well, I mean, it did happen, though. Spencer was the one that left.
But Spencer's the one that took her in.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Oh, CJ has some hot tea here. Maybe.
What is it?
Well, not hot tea, but thinks that Jacob might be next.
Stop.
No, I don't think so. I don't.
But I don't know. I didn't think Muna was going to go home this episode until she said Huff and Puff, and I got a little nervous.
Oh, man. I don't want Jacob to go because I do. Just hopefully people don't start saying, do you have a final, with Jacob? If they start cross-referencing what he said to them, that could be problematic for his game.
Yeah.
And so, yes, these super social players are going to have to rally in. And the fight that Muna had with Jacob, I think I don't know if it's great for him. What do you think? How do you think the fallout for the little argument at the battle back?
I don't. I'm going to wait till episode 4 and find out.
Get out of here. Do you have an opinion?
I don't know. I think they're going to be lifelong friends regardless. It's a game, but watching it back is going to be painful. I'm sure last night was not a fun watch for either of them.
Yeah, I really
Jacob threw her name out there.
Pardon?
Jacob did throw her name out there. So, he didn't really have her back fully. He might have.
I just don't know if he would have targeted her at that moment, though. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Wow. Social justice and online reality games, it's just so hard to navigate. Joseph says, I agree, Jacob, but you have 1 to 2 rounds left. He was so paranoid in the episode. I'm surprised he didn't get his hand caught in the cookie jar with the way he was filibustering at times because of last week. Absolutely. So it's kind of like Muna kind of got a little bit caught in this round. I'm wondering if Jacob will be able to finesse his way out of kind of being a little bit messy here. So we'll see. And I can't wait to see it. Yes. Any final thoughts about this episode, Jojo, or anybody in the chat before we say sayonara?
Looking forward to episode 4.
I know, I really am.
Do you know what the name is yet?
Oh, I could find out. I feel like I do.
And I'm also less than 10%, so it might just die.
Well,
I
we
did so
know
well today, though.
how
I
it
brought a
rolls.
charger.
It's always, we always have to worry about it conking out.
Dying.
Yes. Okay, so the next episode, I don't think they have it set up yet. No.
Okay.
I do not know what it's going to be called. Actually, let me just double check here. No. Let's do episode 3. No, it's not. They don't have it titled up here.
Fine.
It's okay.
Great.
So, loving covering this with you. I love having a chat because I find it amazing that we don't necessarily have the same opinion.
Real life. I'm okay with it.
Real life, real life. Anything you want to share with the people about what's going on in your life?
What can I share?
Well, you guys can watch us both play Big Brother Cheesecake 5.
Yes. Janelle followed me on Instagram.
Yes, you guys.
I forgot to say that the other day. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, I got followed by this person and like make a big deal of it. But when that happened, I'm not kidding. Like I went back to 2005. I was like, I just had my full Janie doll life.
So basically, for Christmas, he made a Janelle star doll for the top of his Christmas tree.
Yeah, my tree topper.
She's kind of being impaled by the tip of a pine tree, I think. But, she's wearing her little star outfit.
She can handle it. It's okay.
Whoa! It's super cute. And so when he posted it, he tagged Janelle. And Janelle, she liked it. And she commented. And then, she followed him.
And then messaged it. I couldn't even respond to the message. It was like, okay, I love you too. I don't know what to say.
I mean, that's way more important than us playing Big Brother Cheesecake. So
it was a highlight for 2020.
That is
Janelle being excited.
And not like the highlights you need in your hair. No, just kidding.
Oh, it's so bad. I say it every week. I'm like, I'm gonna go blonde next week.
Just kidding. You're always gorgeous. Well, thanks guys for hanging out with us. Follow us on Cheesecake. I keep on saying I'm going to put the link in the bio, and I haven't yet, or in the description box. I'm going to do this right now. And I'm going to put all these onto an actual podcast as well before it gets away from me, and then putting 12 episodes on a podcast link is so tedious. So I'm going to put episode 1, 2, and 3 of Sequester on podcast. So it'll be on Apple Podcasts, it'll be on Stitcher, it'll be on the other one.
Just spread out.
It'll be everywhere. All right. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love chatting with you. Of course, you know where to find me usually. I will be doing this week. I haven't decided on a date yet for The Bachelorette, but you know that we do The Amazing Race on Fridays at 5, or Thursdays at 5 with Phil. Fridays usually we'll do The Masked Singer, but it'll be the finale, so we might change that up a little bit on the when we do The Masked Singer. Maybe we'll do a live reveal Wednesday night after the episode. I don't know. We'll see what we do. And then we'll be coming back to you next week. I'm just going to say between 2 and 6 on Mondays, Eastern time, we will be doing our recap for Sequester episode 4 and beyond. All right? Yay!
Yes.
Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. Love you. Go. Bye.
Bye, Benny.